I moved my lunch to the biohazard fridge in the lab. So I work in a research lab and we have two fridges. One for food, one for samples. The sample fridge has the big orange biohazard sticker on it, and everybody knows you don't touch it unless you have gloves on and a reason. Simple system. Worked fine for years. Then Danielle transferred into our department, and Danielle has this thing where she thinks the food fridge is her personal property. She'd rearrange stuff, move people's containers to the back, and honestly, if your lunch took up space she felt entitled to, it just vanished. I lost a whole meal prep container the first week she was here. Never found it. I let it slide like an idiot. I figured, whatever, I'll just label mine better. I wrote my name on the lid in big black marker, taped a note to it. Didn't matter. The next week my leftover curry was gone, and there was a smoothie sitting exactly where it had been. I asked her about it and she goes, "Oh, was that yours? It didn't look like anyone's. It had my name on the lid, in marker." She looked me dead in the eye and said that. I asked her like, could she please just leave my food where I put it? And she gave me this little laugh and said, "There's not a lot of room in there, it's kind of a group space, you know? A group space." For her smoothies and her 3 different kinds of oat milk that took up an entire shelf. I just started thinking, the biohazard fridge sits right next to the food one. Same size, same everything, just the sticker and the fact that nobody, and I mean nobody, opens it without a reason. And it's cold, it's clean, it holds a lunch just fine. It mostly stores sealed sample vials and reagents behind a locked inner tray anyway. There was a whole empty shelf on top. I started keeping my lunch in there, on the top shelf in a sealed container, but I know exactly what's in that fridge. I handle it every day, and my sandwich in a locked Tupperware was never touching any of it. My food stopped disappearing overnight. Best 2 weeks of my life. Then Danielle found out. She saw me pull my container out of the biohazard fridge one afternoon, and her face did this thing. She goes, "Is that where you've been keeping your food?" And I just said, "Yeah, since the other fridge is a group space and all." She didn't like that. She went and told our lab manager that I was storing food with biohazardous materials, which sure, technically the fridge has the sticker, but she made it sound like I was eating out of a sample tray. Our manager Priya pulled me aside, and I could tell she was already annoyed, but not at me, because the first thing she asked was, "Why'd you start doing that?" So I told her, the vanishing lunches, the name on the lid, the "was that yours," the oat milk shelf, all of it. I told her I moved my food because I got tired of buying 2 lunches a day. Priya just kind of exhaled and said, "Okay, stop using the biohazard fridge, that part's not happening." Fair. I said, "No problem." Then she said, "But we're gonna fix the actual problem." Next morning there's a new sign on the food fridge. Every shelf labeled with a name, assigned spots. And there's a second sheet taped up next to it that says anything not in your assigned space, or any tampering with another person's shelf is a documented incident. Danielle's shelf is the small one at the bottom. Her oat milk empire got evicted. She was furious. She came up to me at my bench and said, "You couldn't have just talked to me like an adult instead of running to Priya." And I looked at her and said, "I taped a note to my lunch with my name on it. You threw it out and asked if it was mine. That was me talking to you like an adult." She said I was being petty and that it was just food. Why was I making it such a huge deal? I told her it stopped being about food the second she stood there and lied to my face about the container with my name on the lid. She said, "Fine, but putting it in the biohazard fridge, that's insane. You could have gotten someone sick." And I said, "Nobody got sick. You just got a shelf." She hasn't touched the fridge since. She brings a cooler bag now and keeps it under her desk.